India, summer 1959. On the train to Calcutta, Mother Teresa writes in her diary.
What do I labor for? If there be no God, there can be no soul. If there is no soul, then Jesus, you also are not true.
These sentences come from the recently published biography about Mother Teresa, Come, Be My Light. But how can such words be reconciled with the image of the world-famous nun, who always felt that her work was God's mission? Is this a physically and spiritually burnt-out woman crying for help? What's behind the smile of Mother Teresa, the woman who called herself a saint of darkness? Mother Teresa has known these feelings of desolation and emptiness for a long time. She battles against them with self-discipline and even more work. Her workplace is Calcutta, a city of 9 million people, the biggest metropolis on the Indian subcontinent. For more than 10 years, Mother Teresa has served the poor, and the poor become more numerous by the day. Of the countless thousands who pour over the Howrah Bridge into the city to search for a livelihood, many end up destitute on the streets. Calcutta's imposing Victorian architecture tells of a time when it was a royal residence in the British Empire. But beyond the shiny colonial facade, slums are sprawling. The authorities have registered around 1,000 of them. This is where Mother Teresa begins her work. The slum of Moradjil is the first poor quarter she visits, alone. It's the summer of 1948. Many refugees from Pakistan live here. They arrived in Calcutta after the separation from India. The hygiene conditions are catastrophic. Cholera spreads. Mother Teresa has only basic training in nursing, but she's determined to help. As a humble nun, she has no choice but to become a beggar herself. Milk for the children, rice for the elderly. Amid the squalor, Mother Teresa works until she is utterly exhausted. But she sees it as God's mission to be here, where people lead an undeserved and desperate existence. Moradjil is still on the agenda of the nuns today. They run a school here and look after the aged and sick. As in the past, medical care is one of their biggest problems. Sister Andrea is a doctor. She came to India from Germany in the summer of 1954. Mother Teresa told her to study medicine. As with Sister Andrea, Mother Teresa also has a significant impact on Agnes, an Indian woman. She trained the slum dweller to be a medical orderly, who then worked for many years on a leprosy ward. Agnes was still a child when she met Mother Teresa for the first time.
I was about 8 years old when Mother came to us. She taught me to write. She simply took a stick and scratched the letters into the ground.
In the months that follow, 26 young girls join Mother Teresa. They follow her into the desolate quarters of the city. Mother Teresa insists that they live like the poor. She considered it a type of freedom.
We take a special vow to give a wholehearted free service to the poor. All our works are done for the love of God, and we do it for anyone of all caste and creed. The only condition is that there must be the poorest of the poor.
For a long time, Rome withholds permission to found a new order. But on October 7th, 1950, Mother Teresa and her sisters can call themselves missionaries of charity. When Pope Paul VI comes to India years later, Mother Teresa is too busy to meet him. But the Pope recognizes the missionary's work in his own manner. He gives her his car, a white Lincoln. The nun immediately auctions it off to raise funds for the poor. But her giving is not limited to sharing out food.
Für Mutter war es wichtig, im Menschen Gott zu sehen, nicht, wie sie gesagt hatte.
For Mother, it was important to see God in a person, as she said, to give people their dignity back, which was often buried, invisible perhaps, even to themselves. Every time she got in contact with people, she gave us this charge: no one must go away from you without being a little happier, without having received some kind of help.
In the Mother House, in the center of Calcutta, the young novices are trained for their duties. They have 8 years to become accustomed to the frugal, strict life in the order. Two white saris, one pair of sandals, a prayer book and a rosary. These are the missionaries' only belongings. And this is the message the order's founder has for them.
To live our life to the full, to be able to live it with happiness, not just because I have to. Nobody has come here because you had to come. You choose to come.
I've never doubted even for a second that I've done the right thing. It was the will of God. That was His choice. The happiness that no one can take from me. There has never been a doubt or unhappiness.
These are Mother Teresa's happiest moments, when her novices take their final decision to serve God. The celebration of their solemn vows is a reminder of her own promise to God. It gives her strength to stave off rising doubts.
I speak of a tender love to God, and I long for faith in His love. Please pray that I keep up my outward joy. I deceive the people with this weapon, even my sisters.
The trick works. The nuns have no suspicion of the doubts of Mother Superior. Each morning, they go out in small groups from the Mother House. They work in schools, hospitals, and on the street. The missionaries of charity are by now well known in Calcutta. Newspaper reports attract public attention, bringing in donations and volunteers, among them badly needed doctors and nurses. Mother Teresa receives strong support from Calcutta's wealthy and influential upper classes. But she's always careful not to become too dependent. She'd rather haggle with the authorities herself to get empty houses. Then she can establish accommodation and places to serve free meals to the homeless. Here in the Shishu Bawan orphanage, up to 500 people get a hot meal every day. However, the sisters do not want their activities to be seen as mere social work. They have a higher goal, as the founder of the order keeps reminding them.
We are sent to bring God's love, and we use God's love to prove to the people our love for God in action through our services that we give to the people, whether it be the lepers or the dying or the crippled or the unloved or uncared. For us, they are Christ in the distress in disguise.
No one has any idea how difficult it is for her to fulfill this task.
The place of God in my soul is blank. There is no God in me. When the pain of longing is so great, I just long and long for God. And then it is that I feel He does not want me. He is not there. I help souls to go where? Why all this? Where is the soul in my own being? God does not want me.
These are her words to Father Neuner. Since the early 50s, he and Mother Teresa have been close. Recognizing her inner conflict, the priest interprets it as a sign of her spiritual depth.
This darkness in her heart and in all the world, she felt in her heart, and she told me that. This brought her closer to us. The fact that she spoke not only of God's greatness, but also of the abandonment, affliction, and helplessness in our own lives.
You see, Father, the contradiction in my life. I long for God. I want to love Him, to live only for love of Him, and yet there is only pain, longing, and no love.
Mutter Teresa hat in ihrer Hingebung sich so identifiziert, dass eigentlich zwischen...
In her surrender to God, Mother Teresa's identification was so strong that not even a sheet of paper could fit between her and God. However, to feel that she kept losing him in spite of this closeness and this symbiotic imagination, that was the cruelty of it. She was involved in a Sisyphus task. Whenever she seemed to reach her goal, the stone rolled away. This lifelong longing to arrive, while in fact she never did arrive. This, of course, generates doubt. Does a God even exist?
Gibt es überhaupt Gott?
Outwardly, however, Mother Teresa's entire existence is God-oriented. She sees herself as His selfless servant and clings to the rhythm of the order, work and prayer. But inside, she fears she could fall victim to an illusion. What does God want from her? She can't sense it. The portraits of Mother Teresa, taken by photographer Raghu Rai, tell more about her inner struggle than she may have wanted.
Don't you see that she's connected? See? See the intensity in her eyes. You see the way she related to ordinary people, that they could touch her, they could feel so close to her. And look at the intensity in her eyes, you know. It's not just the body language and the closeness, the way she's holding this child so tight, so close to her. But look at the expression she has. There's pain, there's suffering in her face, you know. So, you know, the way she loved people and the way she wanted to make a difference, to get closer to Him, that was her way of getting closer to Him, to remove all the suffering, because each one of them happens to be her Christ.
On the streets of Calcutta, Mother Teresa seeks new ways to satisfy her yearning for God. Her next undertaking will challenge her life like never before. She wants to establish a house for the dying in order to give dignity to slum dwellers, at least in their final hours. However, there's no space in a densely crowded city, but no one reckons with Mother Teresa's stubbornness. Eventually, an official from the health authorities takes her to Kaligat. Kaligat is a Hindu temple district, a place of pilgrimage in the very heart of Calcutta. Devoted Hindus visit this area to pay homage to Kali, the goddess of death. Here, Mother Teresa hopes she will find what she is looking for.
The streets, Kaligat, slums, and sisters have become places where he lives his own life of love in the full. Now more than ever I understand how close I must come to God if I wish to bring souls to him. The dark holes. There our Lord is always really present.
Nirmal Hriday, place of the pure heart, is the name Mother Teresa gives to her hospice in Kaligat. Until recently, it was still a resting place for pilgrims. Devoted Hindus are indignant that a Catholic nun has moved into one of their holiest temples. The missionary replies that she is picking up the dying from the gutter in order to lift them up to heaven. But the health authorities are impressed by her compassion. They support her and let her get on with her work. In this house, people are near their end. They are cared for, and in their final hours, not abandoned.
They have been unwanted all their lives. We want to make them feel that at the end somebody loves them and somebody cares for them. That's why we want to give them the best of what they have missed right through their lives. As somebody said, that they have lived like animals, but now they die like angels.
Guiding the souls of the dying to God. This is Mother Teresa's own job description. It takes her to her physical and emotional limits. She wants to be certain her work has his stamp of approval.
I do my best, I spend myself. I do not doubt that it was you who called me with so much love and force. That is why the work is yours. But I have no faith. Jesus, don't let my soul be deceived. I followed you when you called me. Come, be my light.
This call she heard most insistently on September 10th, 1946, while sitting in a train to Darjeeling. She's on her way to the Order's house in the mountains. She is still a member of the Loreto Order, working as a teacher in Calcutta. Like the upper-class British and Indians, the nun seeks escape from the heat of the city. In Darjeeling, she spends her novitiate as Agnes Boyakshu. Only after her vows does she take the name Teresa. The order sends her to Calcutta, where she teaches children of the upper classes at St. Mary's High School. She loves her job. But this train ride transforms her life.
My little one, come. Come, carry me into the halls of the poor. Carry me into the halls of the poor. Come, be my light. Come, give me the souls. Give me the souls.
For a long time, Mother Teresa keeps the secret of what she describes as her second calling. But when her intimate relationship with God falters, she confides the motivation of her mission to Father Neuner.
When the work started, I knew what it will all mean. But in my whole heart, I accepted then everything. But now, Father, it is so dark, so different. And yet my everything is his, in spite of him not wanting me.
The priest feels she's losing herself in obsessive devotion. He tries to lower her expectations of God.
The closer we get to God, the more we sense the distance, the infinite remoteness, the greatest mystery beyond all that's worldly. To comprehend that, to feel that, that's her life. Its essence is the ability to give the love of God to all the world out of a deep loneliness.
Mother Teresa feels consoled, but her loneliness won't leave her. A smile will conceal her pain and become her trademark. Her order is growing. The network of the energetic nuns spans the globe, from New York to Nairobi. 20 years after their founding, Mother Teresa and her missionaries are active in 11 countries. The sisters allow themselves no creature comforts. In their houses, there's neither radio nor television, no distractions from God or their mission. Wherever a crisis breaks out in the world, Mother Teresa is there, like here in Beirut. During a combat pause, she rescues disabled children from a bombed orphanage, demonstrating to the world her commitment to human life. Easing a child's distress is a heartfelt cause for her, and when it comes to opposing abortion, she's a tireless campaigner.
We have been able to give so many of these children in adoption, so giving joy to the child who has no home, and a child to the home that has no child. And so this is the way that we are trying to the dignity of life by fighting this terrible thing, the murdering of the little ones, the abortion.
An opinion not shared by all. Nevertheless, the woman in the white sari has attained cult status. Heads of governments and other celebrities crowd around her. Mother Teresa is aware of her presence in the media, but she is not dazzled by it. Fame means nothing to her. The only thing that counts is the individual.
Being a celebrity was something which she never liked. Each time I had to approach Mother, I had to clean myself up from inside and outside, so that when I go and meet her, because she was very dangerous. You know, she will not look at you when you meet her. She will look into you. And that was unnerving. You know, in the first few encounters, her eyes will look into your heart, your soul, your mind. And you shudder, oh my God, you know. And then gradually you had to gather yourself together to face this great lady. So it was very special, because nobody else does that to you in this world. So she was one of those rarest human beings that she could travel inside you and see who you were. Mother brought me so close to myself. You see, the most important part a great guru, a great saint can do is to restore you to yourself.